Hello and welcome to this Crystallize live stream. Today the topic will be automation with AI, and we're lucky to have Anders here from Plantasjen to share a little bit about what they're doing today with automation at Plantasjen.
Thank you.
Hello to the internet, Anders.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. It's an interesting subject which we've been playing around with for some time. So we have some good, not even proof of concepts anymore, but it's actually in production, which is nice. So yeah.
That's great. I'm really looking forward to this. And just to set the scene a little bit, maybe you could give a little bit introduction to you and also Plantasjen.
Yeah, sure. Plantasjen is one of the larger Scandinavian retailers for plants and anything garden related, with the challenges that comes with having products that actually die if you're not careful. And we originally we had a huge website with all the bells and whistles, but it was quite heavy and silo based, which kind of gave us some difficulties. When I started in Plantasjen, my number one task was to redefine, restart, rebuild, which we did. So we got the opportunity to kind of scrap everything. There was no legacy at all, and that's quite nice. You rarely get that opportunity, but in our world, it meant we can start over, rethink, redo, and we did. Crystallize was one of the key components there, and then we kind of build from it. And the idea was to go away from a quite rigid, simple templating thing to more give the users the power to do whatever they want. And of course, that might scare some developers when you say that loud, but it's I think it turned out really well. So we have built a website based on quite clever modeling in Crystallize, which is what Crystallize is great at, is allowing you to do that. And we built stackable components and reusable components, which means that our content editors and marketing people can do whatever, wherever. And it is possible. The front page you can see here now, I think it has like 10 heroes or something, with carousels and different things. But due to kind of how it's built, we still score 100 of 100 in Lighthouse on this front page, which means that it's doable, even though you give the power to the people. Scary sometimes, but it works. And that's kind of the main idea here, was to create a world where we can not only sell you something, but actually give you some inspiration, some how to do things and build things like that. So that's the main purpose of this, I think.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, the type of products you have, it's ideal for storytelling and inspiration, and also what I like is the way that you're trying to help, not to sell. So one of the things that we're not going to talk about today, but for example, your chatbot, which is connecting, the product data and how-tos that you have in Crystallize with, my location and the weather, and giving advice based on where I am and what the weather is this weekend and what I can do in my garden. So I like that approach where you don't want to push, you want to help.
Yep. And we're also moving into features there where you can see what you're looking at, and if you ask for the weather, it suggests, okay, maybe you need something in relation to the weather at the product you're looking at. So it's also making it more clever, which is good. And that's the base of everything we are doing here as well. That we needed to take control of the master data, which you can't do anything, and we'll get back to it for the enrichment as well, is that you can't ask AI to be magical. You need something so that it can trust facts to do something clever. So, but we will get back to that part. Yeah.
Because I guess that's the segue, right? Because when you're getting new products all the time, right, and the base of the product data you have, maybe you can talk a little bit about what do you start with, and what is the challenge that you face on a daily basis there?
Yeah, we have a majority of plants, of course, but also dry goods, even pet food and stuff like that. And in most cases, it's entered into our ERP systems with basic data, or what we call master data. And then they have an assortment planner, which is also an in-house system built by us, where they plan the assortments for this and next year. And this is where everything is connected. Everything is actually kind of made live. And from there, it's pushed into Crystallize as a create, of course. And this is kind of where we want to kind of connect these flows that we'll be looking at later, so that when Range starts looking at the enrichments of something, it's more or less enriched, but they need to approve and check and verify. And good thing about having plants as our base product is that AI knows plants, because plants has existed as long as computer has, which means it's easier. For dry goods, the story is not the same, because that means it's kind of hard to be as accurate, especially in image generation, as we will look into as well. Doing facts about facts, simpler. Being accurate on images, maybe not so much. So yeah, but anyway, so that's kind of the main story here, because historically there were people working in Excel copy pasting things. And if they needed to do something in batch, they took an entire category, and the benefit of doing things in batch, it's quicker, but that means the entire category will have similar information, which is not ideal. People want to do specifics on plants, not what the floral family is like. It's to be specific. So that's what we're also doing here. So I will show that as well, but we are delving into the category stuff as well, which is quite cool. So
that's interesting. Let's jump into some details. Maybe you can show a little bit of your workflow and how it's set up today.
Yep. Let's see. I am sharing. Yeah. So I will do like this. Open a new tab.
Yeah.
So what we have done is that we have used Crystallize workflows and defined some simple workflows that kind of determines the different parts of what we're trying to achieve. And each of these flows do a specific task. And what we have seen is that originally we tried a bit more like, let's feed it something and give a complete result on the other end. But it turned volatile quite quickly, because it was depending on its own data creation while creating, which is not always ideal. So what we did, we simplified it, put it into steps, and allowed for verification in each step. So if I have prepared a couple of products which are quite fresh, new. So we have a couple of plants here. And as you can see,
this is basically the starting point. When you get it from master data, that's what you get.
Yeah, so this is how it looks like when you get it from our ERP and assortment planner. It doesn't really have much. What it has is in the bottom here, a lot of master data stuff, which is not really that important for the customers, but we use it as the base for what we're generating. So I will put this into our image generate flow. And I will do the same for a couple of more. So we have more in parallel. And that was it. Yep. So now I can go into the flow, look at the product image flow. And what is happening here is that we have then fed the, in this case, the Google Imagen AI, the data, the master data, and different sets. The good thing about plants is that we have the Latin name for it, which means it's a constant. You can look it up in any books anywhere online, and you will get hits on it. So it's that's why it makes it easier to do, because it's a kind of a verified constant. So I will try to refresh. So now it's done with the first one. And the second one we can do later. So if I go into this, you can see it's generated a rhododendron image.
And this is, so you're actually generating product images using, is it Nano Banana or the Google image generation AI?
Yep.
And this is something you're using in production, right? This is not for play.
Nope. This is what I showed you here. People are using every day. So I can show you later as well. But we have products online with this AI in the corner because we watermark it.
Yep.
It's just kind of a verification. It's more or less correct every time, and of course people verify it. So it's just that we like to inform people that it is AI generated. Yeah. So we can go back to our workflow here. Now the other one is complete as well.
Yep.
And then I will drag them into verified, saying, okay, I'm happy with those images. And then it will then appear here automatically because that's part of the Crystallize flow features, which is nice.
Yep.
And then it will generate content. Yep. And then in this case, it will then take more of the master data available, like height, length, width, colors, and different things, so that it's trying to be as specific as possible. What it also does, it looks at the image to get colors or any input that might be useful. Because in some cases, the plant might have berries or fruits, and the AI that creates the image usually catches that because the Latin name says that it should have. But in the texts, it doesn't really specify that. So you found that by adding the image into the to the master data in this case, could be more accurate. So let's see if it's yeah. So now it's done with the first one here. So if we go into that, you can see here now that it wrote the short description, long description, some unique selling points, and then it delved into the category-specific stuff. And that's also an AI part of it, because it triggers on what kind of category it is based on some values, and then it selects the correct data set to generate based on that category. So if this was a barbecue grill or a spade, it would then select a dry goods category. Which is also quite clever. So in this case, it created planting advice, care instructions, and different things that people care about, like how far apart should they be when you plant them, what's the temperature stuff, how tall would it be when it grows, all those things. Also have scent here for a project we're working on. So when I'm happy about this, and you can see now both are completed, I can then drag them over in generation verified. And they will then appear in translations. And what happens here is that it goes through another set of AI tools, and it just translates every single text item accordingly. But that's also a bit clever, because we have told it that you should translate everything in relation to each other. Because in some cases, a plant might have a name in English that translates to a color or something else in Norwegian or Swedish. And then it needs to be in context so that it keeps that context through the content. So I tried to refresh now. Yeah, so this translation was quite quick, as you saw. And what happens is that the English ones are now removed, and we can take a look at the Swedish and Norwegian ones. And then we can go like this. And it has now Norwegian name, Norwegian short description, long description, selling points, category stuff, and whatever. And from here on, we have automation that also picks up if it should be published or not. So I can't publish it now because that's kind of, it bypasses those rules. But what it's doing is it's checking the sales statuses, checking if it should be online or not, what market it is in, does it have a price, and all those things. And if all those things are checked to true, it will be published within the next 30 minutes. But I can show another example. This is one that we generated some weeks ago. And this, you can see it's the image with the AI logo on the side. And it creates the description, how to care for it, tips to how to treat it, and stuff like that. And this is online and in production use today. And the one step that's missing, which we're working on, is to be able to also tag it with different kind of visual elements, like in this case. So that's the remaining piece of the puzzle, is to use that. And this part as well, the generation stuff here, is also pushed to posters in stores and in other PIM systems or other suppliers we have that use this data, our app, and things like that. So yeah, that was the general idea for how it works. And as you saw, there is no. It's quite quick actually, which means that historically, when someone in our plant categories finds something new and interesting which has come to the market, our competitor has it, and they want to sell this, they can add it into the ERP systems, push it to our systems, and it could be live that day. Yeah. If you wanted to. Historically, that was a month of manual stuff. So it is improved significantly. So this is the cool part. And our dry goods are using this as well, but just not the image gen at the moment, because it has to be completely accurate in that case. So yeah.
That's nothing less than impressive. It's a full workflow using all the latest tools, and as you said, you're lucky with plants that you actually can generate the product images. Yep. So, have you done any thoughts on or calculations on how much time? I mean, if we recap, you took 2 products that you had basic master data on. You generated a product image. You generated all the selling text and specification, and you translated it to 3 languages or 4, and it's ready to publish within a few minutes. And it's just using different AI tools with the workflow automation in Crystallize. So it's a trust but verify setup where you generate good data, but you also do just a manual check to make sure that it's at the quality that it needs to be. But how much time would you say that you're saving with this? I mean, this is seems like quite a big leap.
It's kind of hard to because in the old systems, the people working with this, like I said, they did a bit more in batch, like all in one category or things like that. So it's kind of hard to compare. But the cool thing here is that I can add 50 of them into a flow and then just work down the list to verify and then move those 50 to the next step. While that's working, I can go back and create more images on other ones. In the future, we also have that when a product is actually created, it will go through this flow and then verification at the end, maybe, stuff like that. Because there's nothing stopping me now. When I did the manual steps between flows, which is, there's nothing stopping me using Crystallize automation to just do that. So I could actually run it through everything and actually have it published without anyone looking at anything. And of course, when we have seen this in production for longer times and we have tuned our prompts and did kind of made sure that it's flawless, because it can be quite good for plants, there's nothing stopping us from actually doing that. Which means that when they add a new batch of 100 plants they want to push to stores, and the stores are waiting for posters to actually put up on their sales, they can just add those 100, export them from the assortment planner, and it's live next day, which is unheard of, I think, in any retail usually. So that's the cool part. Of course, it's plants. We have gardeners and plant-specific people that like to verify, and they're allowed to do that. But technically, it can be really rapid, which is cool. So yeah,
that's cool. But any things? I mean, you probably use different engines and tweaked a lot, as you said, the prompts. Any kind of lessons learned? I mean, what doesn't really work well compared to what works well with the? I mean, obviously the final setup that you have now, it's tuned and works well. But any tips to others that are looking into using more AI for enriching product data?
I think having control of your master data, which means whatever input you have as an origin, it needs to be required fields. It needs to, instead of having free text boxes, you need a drop down with choices. You need to be more specific, because the second this image gen gets orange as a color for this red plant, it gets confused, right? Because the Latin name tells it one thing, but our data tells it something else. Stuff like that. So master data is the key here. But in this case, it's as long as you have control of that, it can be quite clever, and you just need to fine-tune the prompting and be a bit clear on what it not should do as well, because that's something usually people miss. It's really focusing on what it should do, but not telling it what it not should do usually makes a mess. So, and in this case, it's simpler, more straightforward. If we talk about our chatbots, it's a completely different story, because it interacts with master data our customers can come in with, which is completely different. So, but that's a different story.
Yeah, that's a story for another time. But thanks, Anders, for sharing. It was really cool to see. And I hope people enjoyed it. If you want to see more, like and subscribe, as they say, and we'll do another live stream next week. And again, thanks, Anders, for joining.
Yeah, thank you as well.